and then McDonald full access to the single market post-Brexit. In what way would it differ from what we have at the moment?
Well, there wouldn't be freedom of movement. That's a key element. But we want to get as close as we possibly can to where we are at the moment. That's the whole object of the exercise.
And why would the EU agree to giving us full access, your party's words, without one of the key conditions, which is free movement of people?
Well, that's the negotiation, Andrew, and that's what we're setting out.
But they've already made it clear that's not on right at the start. They called that cherry picking, having your cake and eating it.
I understand that, but I think if we have that as an adopted position, it gives us that starting point for that negotiation. Where we currently are is just a hapless and hopeless
Well, this
position.
might be pretty hopeless too. Would there be, under full access, would there be also free movement of capital?
Yeah, we're talking about the only freedom of movement we're talking about that doesn't exist, it comes to an end, is the freedom of movement of labour. And that requires a new immigration relationship and new policy.
So under full access, free movement of capital would continue?
Well, that's for negotiation. I think that's got to be an objective.
I'm asking, what would your party's position be going into these negotiations? Would you have free movement of capital?
Indeed, yes. You would.
So you would give up the right to introduce capital controls?
Andrew, we are starting on this process. We've tabled that amendment for Tuesday. How that develops thereafter, but if that can be adopted as a sensible strategic position, then I think all of those details are up for negotiation with the EU as we go forward. This gives us a good platform.
Would you accept, as part of full access, the existing rules limiting state aid to industry and subsidies to industries?
We want the freedoms to deal with our industries and subsidise, as you describe it, in the way that we see fit. We do not want to be restricted in that way. So let's have it right, because we've had
let's get this right. You're wanting full access, the same access as we have now, but you won't give free movement, and you want the right to have your own state aid and subsidy rules.
Well, let's just examine that. Look what happened with my steel plant at Redcar, when it could have continued. I went across to Italy and saw how the Italian government looked after their steel industry within the EU, subject to state aid rules. I saw how the French did it at Florange and how it was done in Germany. Now, all we'd have to do is adopt those sorts of provisions, those interventions that the European Union can make now. We should use the powers that we have now.
So you would put your state aid rules would be subject to approval by Brussels?
Well, no, we are saying that we'll copy what the French and the Italians and Germans.
Well, they're subject to the same. They may have done it in a different way, but
Andrew,
they're subject to the same state aid rules as we are, and the same subsidy rules. It seems to me you want the full access, but none of the responsibilities and the rules and regulations that go with it.
No, we want the same treatment for our core industries as the Italians have meted out to their own industry. They wouldn't see a core industry go down the tubes and 20,000 people at the Ilva plant be out of work and be reliant upon benefits. They took that decision.
But the Italian steel industry has lost tens of thousands of workers in the past 30 years. Well, tens of thousands.
As every steel industry has across the Western world. But you don't reduce it beyond a core base because you undermine your manufacturing industries.
Let me just get this straight. So, in return for full access, you're not going to agree to free movement of people, you're not sure about free movement of capital, and you want your own state aid and subsidy regime. You think the Europeans are mad? They're going to give you any of that.
I tell you what, Andrew, I think if the Europeans could see this amendment passed by the British Parliament, there would be a sensible conversation about the future relationship. Well, I have every confidence that it will.
It's not going to pass because you're not going to vote. You're not going to vote for the EEA amendment, the one that's coming from the Lords.
No, we're not.
Your party said that, so that will fall. And even Tory rebels aren't going to vote for your amendment, so they'll both fall.
Well, let's see. The whole point of having a vote, it's like going to a football match and predicting the outcome, Andrew. You've got to watch the full 90 minutes.
It's true, but it's a bit like going to a football match where it's Manchester United against Tranmere Rovers.